What is up, guys? Charlie here with Char Media. Today I'm bringing you another shirt design tutorial, and this time it's more exciting than ever because I am almost at 13,000 subscribers, and guess what? It's because of you guys. I couldn't have done it without you, and your support means the world to me. Thank you guys so much. But anyway, we're gonna be recreating this design right here, and this one's very intricate, so I hope you guys have a few hours to spare because this one's gonna take a while, but it's completely worth it. So without further ado, let's hop into Photoshop and get started. All right, guys, so before we make this badass design, we're gonna go ahead and set up our document correctly, and then we're gonna basically do each section individually and break the design down so it's easy to understand for newcomers and all that. So, but first off, I want to say thank you guys so much. I am almost at 13,000 subscribers, and that's all because of you guys. Seriously. It may not be a lot to some other big YouTubers, but to me that's a lot, and it means the world to me. I would really love your guys' continued support. I know typically with how-to channels, a lot of people don't really stay consistent on there. Like a lot of the subscribers watch once, but then they forget about the channel. I really want to build a subscriber base with you guys. I want you guys to keep coming back, and I want to keep providing you with the best tutorials that you guys can find in the entire world. So anyway, I'm really excited to make this design for you guys, and this is for you. So I will be providing all the resources to this design in the description below. Alright, so moving on to the document setup, this is probably the easiest part, but also the most important part. And I say that a lot in my videos, but it's true. If you don't set up your document correctly, you're literally wasting your time. When you finish the design, it might not be high enough quality to print. So this is very important. But just to give you guys a little summary of what we're going to be doing, we're going to be breaking this down piece by piece, so it's really easy to understand for newcomers. And this is literally a really intricate design, so it's going to take a while, but I promise you at the end, you should be able to recreate this no problem. But so anyway, what we do first is we're going to go to File, New. And once you go to File, New, and by the way, we're using Photoshop CC, just so you guys know, Photoshop CC. So yours might look different if you're using an older version, but it's okay. The same thing basically applies. Your menu might look a little different. But anyway, we're going to go from pixels to inches here on the document setup, and we're going to make it 14 inches width by 18 or 19. We could do 19 inches high. So that's the correct setup that we're using today, and we're doing it at 300 resolution, and that's very important. Now on CYMK, I switched it to RGB because I convert that later on. It's not a big deal. So I would go to RGB, but you guys can also use CYMK. Basically, CYMK is print color, but I like to design in RGB first. That's just my preference. Some people may say that's the wrong way to do it, but that's the way I do it because I can always convert that later on, and not a big deal. And then the background can stay white, and then you just go to Create. And now your document's correctly set up. Alright guys, so before we even get into the nitty-gritty of this design, what I want you to do is go to my website and download all the free vectors here. And that's optional, you don't have to do it, but I would definitely recommend it because it's going to be a lot easier to follow along. This eagle vector right here I have, the eye and the UFO is what you could download for free, and they're copyright free. So that means you can use them without any issues. And from now on, all the designs I do are going to be copyright free, so you can use all the resources, and I'm going to keep providing those for you in each tutorial. So everything's going to be super easy for you guys and stress free. And my goal is to make learning really easy for you guys. And so that's what I'm going to start doing from now on. If you guys like the way I'm doing this, please let me know in the comments below what you think. And but yeah, let's get started on this design. This is a really cool one. It's very intricate. It's going to take a while, but it's totally worth it. I love making these type of designs. So the easiest thing to do for this one is to break it down piece by piece. So we're going to start doing the shield first. So what I did is I created a folder named Design. And if you don't know how to do that, just go to your layer palette, and at the bottom you see a folder. Click that once, and then you can double click on the name and retitle it. So that's it. And now you have a design folder. Basically, every layer that we create is going to be in that design folder, and that's the goal. So we're going to go ahead and hide this for now. Well, first off, let's go ahead and draw a ruler out. So to do that, all you do is Control R. See that little ruler guy that just disappeared? All I did is Control R on my keyboard, and that's for PC, by the way. And then we just drag one out, and you'll feel it snapping away. And I know that's weird to say fill, because how are you going to fill it? But really, you can kind of feel it snap into place, or see it snap into place. So once you see that, you can go ahead and let go. So let me go ahead and hide this main design, and we're just going to keep referencing it. That's all we're going to do. So we're going to be using our pen tool first off. So in order to, so if you don't see your pen tool, all you have to do is go to your little navigation bar. Yours might be on the right side depending on how you have it set up. But go to your pen tool, and I believe all you have to do is hit P. Yeah, so if you're on your your regular directional tool, go to just hit P on your keyboard, excuse me, and that's going to pop it up. So once you have that popped up, go ahead and you're going to go ahead and click once in the middle here, and that's going to create a square. And make sure it's centered as much as possible. Mine's not exactly centered. So anyway, you're going to see a little black square, and that's perfect. That means that your first point has been set. So we need to set several points to create that shape in the background of our entire design, which is like the shield shape. So I created my center one. Now I'm going to just keep building upon that. So I'm basically linking it, adding to it. And my fill is in black right now. So once I create another one, you're going to start seeing black form. So now we're going to create one down here. See, now you see that black fill, and you can change that if you wanted to, or you can add a stroke, but I always keep the fill black for to start with. So that's basically all we did. Now we need to create another point, and this one needs to be kind of far down, a little bit further down than this one. So we need to create that nice sharp edge now, and what we're going to do is make sure it's centered with this one again. So we're going to center it, and then once you actually click once, hold that down. Hold the left click down on your mouse, and then we're going to drag. So we actually need it to be a little sharper than that. So we're going to drag now. And you see what that's doing? That's creating that nice arc that we had on the main design that we're referencing. So that's perfect. That's what we wanted. Now we can let go. And that line's also straight, so that's perfect. And what we need to do now is we need to just close it. So we need to go to the original point that we made, the first one, and just click once. And if that didn't happen for you, that's because you didn't let that circle appear. What that circle means is that you're about to close that shape that you just created with the pen tool. And that's kind of dumbing it down, but that's really what it means. So now that we have one shape made, we're going to go ahead and make life easy on ourselves, right? We're going to go ahead and duplicate it and then flip it horizontally. So to duplicate it, there's a quick little shortcut to do that. All you do is hold an Alt, and you can drag it. See? By holding an Alt, you can drag it, and it's going to duplicate it. So, and then now what we need to do is Control T, and then we need to flip horizontal, and that's it. And for the people that aren't very savvy with shortcuts and all that, all you have to do is go to the layer, the shape layer 1, and then right click and duplicate layer, and that's it. Now we have that cool shape that we wanted. And then I'm just basically using my navigation tools here to make sure it's aligned. And then we can basically merge these because we don't need them anymore, or we don't need them separate anymore. We need them as one layer. So what I did is I selected both layers and I merged them together. So after you merge them, what you need to do is you need to drag it, or you can do it two different ways. You can right click, like I said, and duplicate it. Right click and I don't know why I can't find it. Oh, it's on the top. So you can right click and duplicate it, or you can hold an Alt. And that's just a shortcut. Like I said, you don't have to use them. And then we're just basically duplicating it to create that shield shape that's in the background. And we're going to be resizing this a little bit and stuff like that to make it fill the canvas a little bit better. But now we have the shield shape. So what we could do is merge them both together now that we're done. And just to merge them together, all you do is you click both of them and then you just merge. Once you merge both shapes together, all you have to do is resize it now to fit the canvas a little bit better. So as you can see, mine's quite wide. So that's what she said, right? Anyway, so to do that, all you do is Control T, and you can hold an Alt, and that's going to basically allow you to resize it evenly, and that's what I'd recommend doing. And then we'd resize it, add more height to it as well, and that's basically it. And again, not everything's going to be the same as it's not going to be the exact same as the other design. It's going to be impossible to make it look exactly the same, but we're going to try to reference it the best we can. So that's centered perfectly now, and then I can drag that down a little bit more. And all I'm doing is using the transform tool, which is, like I said, Control T. I'm gonna try to teach you guys shortcuts as we go as much as I can. So now we have the shield, and we can retitle that shield now because that's exactly what it is. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. You can call it a rectangle, whatever. But now we have our shield in place, and if we hide our design now we need to create the banners that are in the back. It's kind of hiding behind the shield, and it's going in front of the shield at the same time. So it's got a 3D effect to it, which is really easy to accomplish. Alright guys, so now we have this awesome shield shape. The only thing we're missing is the banners. So we're going to go ahead and add the banners. And if you look at the main design, you can see that the banners, all they are really is a rectangle. So keep that in mind. They're just a rectangle, super simple. And before we move on to the banners, we're going to go ahead and add the stroke around the shield, and then we're going to go ahead and add the banners to it with the same stroke width. So let me show you how to do that. Let's go ahead and hide the main design. And that main design is really just there, like I said, to show you guys and show myself like a guide of what we need to be doing here. It keeps us on track. So now we have a shield here. And now we need to add, obviously, that the banners behind the shield. So first off, let's go ahead and add a stroke around the shield. So to do that, all you have to do is take the fill and put it at 0%. And then we're gonna add, what the hell did I just say? We're gonna add a stroke on the inside, which is simple. So we added one stroke, and on the inside we have a stroke now, and that's what we wanted. And we don't need to make it too thick, but we need it to be thick enough to basically be a bold statement in the design. So we need to add it to about an 80 pixel stroke. And that looks about right. So 80 pixels seems to be the right amount. So keep that in mind now. Remember 80 pixels. Write it down if you have to. That's what your strokes are going to mainly be. We're going to have two different stroke widths, but this is going to be our main stroke for all the main design elements. So 80 pixels is what it's going to be. Now we're good. Now we have the shield, and what we need to do now is add the banner. So we can go ahead and hide the shield for now. And what we're going to do is create a new layer. The only problem with lowering the fill to 0% is that anything you put behind here, you're going to be able to see. Let me show you what I mean by that. See? You can see it. Now, that's the only issue. Now, if we had the fill at 100%, obviously you can't see anything. You won't be able to see anything in front of it, right? Or behind it. So that's the only issue with lowering the fill to a 0%. But what we're going to do for the banners, since they are going to be going over this part right here, we're going to go ahead and make their fill white. So now what we need to do is just hide this real quick. So we're going to make the fill white, because don't forget we're going to be adding that stroke, same stroke. Now we're going to just drag out a rectangle, just like that. Simple, right? So now we have a rectangle. You can't see it because it's white, but we're going to go ahead and just duplicate the effects on the shield. As you can see, it added the same stroke of 80 pixels to this rectangle, and that's exactly what we wanted. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and unhide the shield. And all I did, by the way, to duplicate that was held an Alt. And if you hold an Alt and click on the effects and drag them to, basically if you hold an Alt, you can drag the effects to any other layer just by holding an Alt and dragging it to that layer. So it's really simple if you want to do stuff really fast and you don't have to go back into the menu and add a stroke manually. It just makes things a lot faster. So anyway, now we have that rectangle, and that's perfect. Now as you can see, this shield, this really sharp shield part is going over, and that's what I wanted. I want it to go over. But before we do the arc on this banner, I need to add the background ones as well. So we're just going to duplicate this and then hide it. We're going to keep one backup is what we're doing. And now what we can do is we can add a warp to this banner. To do that, all you do is Control T, and as you can see, these transform squares pop up, or this framework pops up, right? Once that pops up, you can right click on your mouse and go to warp, and that's going to allow you to create some cool stuff with this. Well, it's basically going to allow you to customize the shape of that banner or that rectangle that you drew out. So to make it more like a banner, we need to add an arc warp to it, just like so. And you can customize how much you want it, or how much of an arc you want it, but we don't want to go extreme here. We just want it a little bit. So just to add an arc about like right there, yeah, that's perfect. That's what we wanted. So now we need to kind of just adjust where it, you know, we want to adjust where it's going to go over, basically. So I think on the other one, it's about right there. All right, guys, so since I created a double of the banner, now I can use this duplicate layer to create the ends of the banner here. So that's really perfect, because now we don't have to draw out another banner and do the same thing. It just made life so much easier on us. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and hide everything for now, and we're going to start focusing on this banner specifically. So, or this rectangle is what it really is. And now we're going to resize it. So if you guys forgot already, it's okay. You can do Control T to resize, and that's the easiest way to do it. So Control T will show these transform frame, or like a transform framework around the shape that you're transforming, and that's how you know it's working. So then you can drag these little points, see? But we don't want to drag the corners, we want to drag the ends here so we can change the width of it. Once you resize it to about this width, it might be a little bit smaller than that, like this. Basically, we're trying to create like a square out of it, but not really. It needs to be a little bit longer than a square. So once we get this shape going, what we need to do is we need to go to the shape palette, which is on the navigation bar here. So you'll see this little, yours might be set to rectangle. If you click and hold, you'll see this little menu pop up on the shape palette. And then if you go to the very bottom, you'll see custom shape tool. And yours might not have any of these, which is completely okay. But if you don't see any of these, you can just go to this little gear icon and then just go to shapes. And then once you click shapes, it will say replace current shapes. So yours might say add or something like that, but mine says replace because I already have it. Now, once you see this, you can actually go to append or click OK, and it's going to add the shapes to that those shape options here. So mine's already on a triangle, which is the one I wanted. So now we need to draw out a triangle. Once you draw out a triangle, what you're going to do is make it black, just so we can see where it is. So now we have a triangle and then we have a rectangle that's resized. Now what we need to do is basically transform the triangle and rotate it. If you want to rotate the triangle, you can actually just do Control T and then right click again and then rotate 90 degrees clockwise, and that's it. And what that's going to do is do the same thing as doing it manually. Most of the time I just do Control T and then do it manually by holding in Shift. I don't know why. Shift makes it a little easier. And if you hold in Shift, you can actually feel it snap into different degrees. So that's why I use Shift. But so now that we have that, what we're going to do is we're going to use it to cut out a shape out of this rectangle shape that we have. So we have rectangle 1 copy, and we have shape 1, which is a triangle. So I'm going to retitle that triangle. Let me retitle that real quick. So triangle. And what we're going to do is, like I said, we're going to cut it out of the rectangle 1 copy. So I'm going to do a little transforming again, just so I can kind of play with how I want it. So after we have this, now all we need to do is hold in Control. And once you hold in Control, you're going to hover over the triangle shape. And as you can see, once you hover over the triangle shape, it's going to show a little square box with some dotted lines on the inside, like a dotted inside stroke. Once you see that, you're going to go ahead and click once on your mouse, left click on your mouse, and it's going to select it. Now we can hide the triangle. Now going back to rectangle 1 copy, so go ahead and select rectangle 1 copy. Once you select it, you're going to go ahead and hit this little mask tool down here. So that's a layer mask tool. What that's going to do is it's going to add a layer mask, and it's going to allow us to delete that that triangle shape out of the rectangle shape, and that's exactly what we want. So click once, and you're going to see something ugly happen. You're going to see it's inverted. We wanted this part to show, but now it's showing this part that we just cut out, and we don't want that. So in order to fix that, all we do is go to that new layer mask that we just added by selecting it, and then do Control I. And as you can see, it put it back to normal, exactly how we wanted it. So we're basically just inversing it so the background's white, and it's showing the shape that we just it's basically showing the main shape, and it's showing the cutout of the triangle that we just did. So anyway, so you can switch back and forth between those just by doing Control I. So anyway, now we have this the end piece of the banner, and that's perfect. That's what we wanted. So now we can unhide the rectangle here, and we can basically transform it and just put it behind there. So we're gonna add it behind, just like so. And we're creating this cool banner, guys. See? Really easy stuff, nothing hard. You'll get this down with practice, I promise. So let me go ahead and show my shield one more time and figure out where these are lying. So the shield's going to be right here. So that's perfect. That's what we wanted. So let me see here. Okay, so I see what I did. Gotcha. I put it behind. So I'm putting it on top here. So see, that's why we have this as a reference, because I forget. So we're going to go ahead and take the ends that we just made and put them behind. Just like so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the banner a little bit. So I'm going to do Control T and then warp it a little bit more. Just like so. I needed a little bit more of a warp on it to give it the effect I wanted. So not a big deal. It's an easy adjustment. And then I can go ahead and transform these ends here to put them at where I want. So that's perfect. That's what we wanted. So that's okay. You can leave that one there. And then we're going to go ahead and basically duplicate it. Once you duplicate it, you can basically drag it to the other side and do the same thing. Make sure they're matching up. And if you want to make sure they're aligned, just select both of them on the layer palette and use these align tools up top, and that's going to make sure they're both aligned. Really easy. And then I'm going to go ahead and drag them up a little bit. So we have those ovals that we had last time. Remember those ovals? We need those to be shown because that's what the other one had. All right, so what we're going to be doing now is adding these little, we're basically going to be closing this off right here. So there's black right here instead of white. And that's just to add more of a banner effect to it. So in order to do that, all you do is create a new layer, really easy. And then you go to the lasso tool, or actually we're going to use a polygonal tool. So it's a lasso tool, but it's called polygonal lasso tool. We're going to use that one instead. And we're going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit. And this is so we can get some detail in here because we want this to be closed off, and sometimes when you're zoomed out you can't see the details and you might be missing a line or something like that. So we created a new layer, and these are just going to be called fillers. I'm going to be calling this a filler. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start from the end here and work our way up and then close this off. So so if you want to know what we're doing exactly, just so you understand, is we're going to be drawing a shape out. And then we're going to be filling it with black. That's all we're doing. So let's draw that shape out, matching to the edge of this line, just like so. And then we're going to be closing it off just like so. That's it. I keep saying just like so. I don't even know. Sometimes I change the way I talk when I do tutorials. I don't know why. But anyway, so now that you created this similar shape, yours might look a little different. That's okay. But just make sure you're closing it off on top. And then once you see that, you can go to fill. So edit, fill, and shit, I messed up. We're going to do edit, fill, and then fill that with black. So we filled it with black, and that's perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. I don't even know what I'm saying. We're doing the same thing to the other side is all we're doing. Just like that. Perfect. So as you can see, though, before we duplicate this and put it on the, before we duplicate this, flip it and put it at the bottom of the design, we need to fix one thing. And as you, and this is basically to save some time, because if I duplicated it and did this again at the bottom, that just takes way too much time. So we're doing it all. We're fixing this banner up the way we want it to look. We're stylizing it, and then we're going to duplicate it after we're done stylizing it is what we're doing. So see the filler copy? We're going to go ahead and make one more layer, and we're going to name it filler copy 2 or something like that, so we know it's another filler. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking this little round edge here and sharpening it because it looks ugly right now. I do not like it at all. So we're doing the same thing we did right here, and we're making that sharp. So following the line, I already screwed up, but we're going to be following this straight line and basically creating this sharp edge on this banner. I work very destructively actually when it comes to shirt designing. This is how I do things. I don't, there's a lot of other ways to do it, but I mean, you could do this whole design in Illustrator and the lines are usually a lot sharper that way, but I love Photoshop, and this is how I fix things in Photoshop. So anyway, that's all you do right there, guys. One thing I did notice right off the bat is this line right here is closer or further away. Sorry, this line right here is closer. To be honest with you, the easiest way to do this is to delete these real quick and just take the original one right here. We're just going to basically convert these, and we're going to be duplicating them because there's no point to doing it the way we just did it. We just need to make sure all these, we need to make sure the background of the banner right here, the back part, is behind this part, and that's all we did. We just made sure the main banner, which is right here, is in front of behind banner, which is right here, and we can merge these together and name them behind, or behind banner, so we know which piece that is. See, now we have behind banner, and we're just going to duplicate that. That's the easier way to do it right there. I don't know why I made work harder on myself, but it's okay. That happens. So that's it. Now we can make sure they're centered together, and they are. And if we want, we can even add them as a group and center them that way as well. And all I did was selected both layers and then Control G, and that adds them as a group. I'll show you one more time. So Control G, and that adds them as a group. See, now we have the banner. So we're not going to spend any more time doing this banner. It's completely okay now, and we're just going to basically group it again and retitle it banner so we know where the banner is. So now we have a banner, and now we're going to duplicate it and put it on the other side of the design, just like so. See? And then flip it vertical again, and I showed you guys how to flip it, so you guys can use that shortcut if you wanted to. And now we have the banners, just like so. And if you want to go even further, you can group it one more time and do banners, and then go inside that banner group and do top and bottom. Top banner and bottom banner. And that's just to keep track of everything. You see what I'm saying? So now you can select the main banner group that basically holds both banners in one group, and you can make sure they're both centered. And that's it, guys. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be taking these banners and making them look like they're behind the shield part here. So that's going to be really fun. All right, guys, we're ready to move on finally. Now we have these awesome banners created that we made from scratch. Now we're going to be adding some 3D effects to the shield and the banner part. So we're going to make sure the shield looks like it's in front of the banners. And this is actually really easy to accomplish. Now, at the beginning, I noticed one thing. I added a 0% fill. We should have added some white to this shield. And the reason why is because we want the banners to go behind it. Now, if we add the banners right now behind it, look what happens. You can still see them, and we don't want that actually. So there's a couple ways to fix that, but the easiest way to make it look like the banners are behind is just to add a color overlay to the shield. So I'm going to go back to the original position that the banners were in. So right now the banners are above the shield. So first off, let's go ahead and add a color overlay to the shield right off the bat. So now we have a color overlay on the shield. Now what we need to do is duplicate the banner layer and put one below the shield. And you'll see why we're doing that in a second. So do Control J on your keyboard. I think it's Command J on a Mac. And now you have a copy. So that's completely perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rasterize this one copy here. So we're going to go ahead and rasterize this copy, which is the banners copy. And we're going to drag the original banner folder below the shield. And on this part, we're going to go ahead and add a stroke. And the stroke, I believe, is only going to be like 20, I think. And it's going to be an outside stroke. So go to 20 pixels. Actually, we need more than that. Let me see. We could do freaking, what do I want to do? We could do 40. 40 is okay. I don't know. Yeah, we could do 40. That's completely okay. So 40 works. And so now we have a stroke of 40 on our banner copy. Now let's go ahead and hide that for now. Now what we need to do is we need to add another stroke around the shield to make it look like the shield is in front of this behind part, this behind banner, which is our original banner layer, or group, or whatever you want to call it. So just add another stroke. And what's cool about Photoshop CC is you can add multiple strokes on the same layer now. Before that wasn't possible. Now you can. So now if you go to the stroke menu here, which is just under effects, all you have to do is double click on effects and that will pop up. Now, as you can see, there's 4 strokes created already. And if you don't see the 4 strokes, you can just add one. You don't need 4, but I mean, we need at least 2. So now what we need to do is add an outside stroke instead of an inside. And we need to make it 40 pixels, just like the banner, because we're staying consistent, don't forget. We're going to stay consistent throughout the whole design. So we have an 80 stroke as the main stroke, and we have a 40 as the white stroke. So this is white because we're blending it in with our canvas background, and that's just because of we want to make sure things look like they're behind. If this was a red stroke or something like that, it wouldn't be as cool looking. So that's why I use white, just to match the canvas background. But anyway, so now we have that, and that's perfect. So what we can do now is unhide the banners copy, and we're going to go ahead and convert this, or we can rasterize it, whatever. At this point, it doesn't matter because they're staying one size. If we were going to resize them later on, like make them bigger, we'd want to convert them to a smart object. But you can rasterize them and still get away with it, just so you know. So now we have banner copy. We have it converted to a smart object, and we have the stroke that we wanted on them. So that's perfect. And since we have both of the banners in one group, they're all together now, see? And that's exactly why we did that. It saved a bunch of time. So what we need to do now is add a layer mask. And the reason why we add layer masks is because we're trying to work non-destructively here. We don't want to, if we were to just take the eraser tool right now and erase this banner, we won't be able to go back, and we run the risk of losing that data, and we want to keep that data at all times. So by adding a layer mask, we're able to work non-destructively by deleting things, and it's going to be easy to add them back later on. So let me show you what I mean by that. It's easier to show you than to talk about it. So now that we have that layer mask, we can delete, see? So so here's the cool thing. if we want to add it back, we just add it back just by making sure white's selected. And if you want to delete it, you can delete it just by making black selected, making sure black's selected, and that's it. So we have a little bit less gap right here than the other one, but I actually like it better this way, so we're going to go ahead and keep that the way it is. And normally I would go back and try to make it match perfectly, but I actually like the way this gap is versus the other design. So we're actually making this better in my opinion. So anyway, now we need to do the same thing to this side. And we're just taking that black that we have selected and we're erasing it until it it blends. So as you can see, this looks like it's just one stroke now, one white stroke, and we don't see any imperfections, so that's perfect. And you can actually zoom in on it to make sure. There's some minor like imperfections on it, but we're adding some grunge to this later on, so that's completely okay. A lot of times I'll design this in Illustrator if I'm doing like an all line design without grunge, just to get the lines perfect, just like that. So now we have the banners. We have the banner looking like it's going behind the sharp part and going in front of the edges here, and that's exactly what we wanted, guys. That's perfect. Now what we're going to be doing is moving on. Alright guys, so our shield and our banners are all ready to go. We have this cool 3D effect going on and it's looking really sick right now. So we're going to go ahead and move on and add the decoration to the corners, and we're only going to have to do this once, and we're going to basically duplicate it. And if you notice, we're duplicating a lot. We're working productively, and that's exactly what I'm trying to teach you guys, to work productively. So there's no point in doing each of them different times. You can do them all at once and then duplicate it and get the same cool effect going on. So all we're doing is we're going to be copying the line width here, the stroke width, and doing a couple different layers to accomplish that shape that we had right here. So it basically goes like this, and then it kind of wraps around. But anyway, this isn't the exact same. I noticed some things are a little bit different on this design that we're doing, but it's overall going to look the same once we're done here. So anyway, now we need to go into our design folder. So we need to make sure everything's in that design folder. We can go ahead and delete that triangle that we used previously because we don't need it anymore. So trash that shit. Bye-bye. Do not need it. Alright, so basically we just need to draw out a rectangle, and without holding in shift, you just need to you can hold an Alt and move it around the shape that you're trying to draw out, which is very helpful. But let's go ahead and make sure it's as close as possible to the width of this stroke. And then once you're happy with it, just let go of your mouse click, and that's going to go ahead and add it. So now we have the same width as this stroke, and that's perfect. It actually looks like it's a little thinner, but that's completely okay, no problem. And we're going to be duplicating this a bunch of times, so you can actually just duplicate it like 3 times right now. So going to rectangle 1, we're going to go ahead and do Control T and transform it, just like so. And we need to make sure it's as straight as possible. We need to make sure our line work looks good, right? We don't want it to look all crappy and blah, blah, blah. So we just need to make sure it's as straight as possible to this line edge. Because it will be noticeable if it's not, trust me. People will know, I promise. And it's not, I realize like this corner's not perfect, but it's okay. Just literally do the best you can and making it look straight, because the banner should have been up a little bit more on this side, but that's just me critiquing the work. I mean, most of the time nobody's gonna notice that. There's some leakage right here. There's some leakage. There's basically just this stroke that's on the shield is showing through right here. We can fix that, no problem, so not a big deal. But that's basically it. So you just copy you just make sure it looks decent right here. Right now it looks pretty good. There's some stuff I don't like about it, but it's okay. So now that you have that set in place, we're going to go ahead and take the duplicates that we have and continue building that shape. And we can also reference the other design. So, okay, so that went like this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so that's good. Now we're going to be referencing it a few times just to make sure we're kind of on the right track here. I'm going to go ahead and drag this down because I'm going to fix this overlay right here that the leakage is what I refer to it as, but we're going to go ahead and delete that later on, so don't worry about that for now. But that looks way better moving it down more. And now we're going to go ahead and warp this duplicate that we have. See, that's why we duplicated it 3 different times, because we're going to be using it quite a bit. Now we have this like kind of upside down V or A shape going on, and that's perfect. That's what we wanted. So let me see what I did. Okay, so it goes down kind of far, and then it swooshes over. That's perfect. So let me go ahead and hide this. So now we can go ahead and take the duplicate again that we have, and we're going to go ahead and rotate it 90 degrees clockwise. And we're going to duplicate that twice because there's 2 of them, and move those up. Just like so. See, as you can see, we're doing it quite a bit here. So we're going to go ahead and do some deleting and stuff later on to make sure this all looks good. But as of right now, this looks super good. I'm happy with it. We can actually move that down a little bit too. We're going to be deleting this. We're going to make this line straight, basically, is what we're doing. And I'm going to make it look sharper than I did last time. We're going to make it look better. Okay? We're going to improve it. Now that that's set in place, we're okay. Now we can go ahead and we can rasterize these, is what we're going to do. And we're just going to delete it. So we're going to take this marquee tool here, or this rectangle marquee tool, and we're just going to go to the edge of this stroke and delete. And that's because the reason why I delete it is because we're selecting the layer to delete. So if you want to delete something, just make sure that layer is selected, and then you can delete it. And the reason why I rasterize is because if you don't rasterize it, you won't be able to delete it. See? When I try to use my marquee tool to delete a selection, it won't do it because it's not rasterized. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to this one right here. So these both need to be rasterized and merged together. And now we're going to take the polygonal tool, and we're going to basically follow the edge of this line and delete too. Same thing. And that wasn't enough, see? So we just need to go back a little bit. So that's perfect, actually. That's what we wanted. Now we have this cool little shape, and there's some minor adjustments that need to be made, but overall this is not a big deal. It's looking really good. I can actually rasterize the shield now. Before I actually rasterize the shield, what I need to do is copy the white that's inside and keep it for later, because we're going to be doing something with that. So rasterize layer style. We have these like lines in the background, basically small strokes repeated over and over again. We're going to be hiding those inside this white. So that's why we're copying the white. So copy, you can do Control C and then Control V to paste. And there you go. Now we have a copy of it. And to verify that, we can invert it. Yep, we have a copy. So that's perfect. And we're going to be keeping that. Now what we can do is we can fix the line work here that we don't like. So we need to basically go to the edge here, and we can delete it. See? Just like so. See? Perfect. Now we have a perfect edge that that looks really good, and we can duplicate it several times and do it to the other side. But before we do that, what we need to do is merge them all. And we're also going to duplicate it one more time and add a stroke because we need that 3D effect. So to do that, all you do is go to stroke, and we're going to add an outside stroke of white. So we're just kind of building it right now is all we're doing. So add a 30 stroke is perfect. So we're adding a 30 stroke. It's a little bit smaller than this stroke, but that's okay for this. If you want to be really picky about it, you could do 40. That's completely okay. And then we're going to go ahead and convert that to a smart object and add a layer mask right off the bat because I'm going to be deleting some of it. Just like so. So now we only need one layer mask. I don't know what happened. I don't know why I added two. So we need one layer mask, and we're just going to go ahead and delete the parts we don't want. We actually just want it on one part. We want it showing on this part. We want it overlaying on this part. That's all. Or actually we could do it the other way. I think the opposite way actually looks better. So it's going to be connecting right here and then going under right here. Or I guess going under right here and going out right here. Whatever the way you want to look at it. But anyway, so now we have that cool little 3D effect, and we can select both of them and name them decor or whatever you want to name them. And then we're going to go ahead and duplicate it, flip it horizontal, and we're going to have to obviously do the same thing that we did over here. We need to go to the shield and delete that part. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but it's completely worth it because it makes the design look so much better. Now if you zoom in, there's some imperfections as far as the lines go, but that's okay. We can fix that, no problem, just by doing this. So we're going to go ahead and fix that real quick because it looks ugly and it's going to be noticeable later on. We're going to create this little part here. We're going to cut it and make it look like wings in a way. Kind of cool, I think. That's why I added it. Because it looked cool. Why not? So go to the decor, and we're going to go ahead and add a layer mask real quick. Why not add it to the whole group? Since they're all grouped together, I think it's easier just to add a group or add a layer mask to the group, and then we can fill it with black to delete it. And that's it. Now we can finally duplicate it and then flip it horizontal and do the same thing we did last time. And this time it's ready to go. Just like so. And that's it. So what we could do now is, since we have both of those in place on top, we can merge them both together. Or actually, sorry, we can group them both together, and we could do top decor, and we'll duplicate it one more time and make this bottom decor. All right, now we're going to flip them vertical and then bring them down. Same thing as the top, but this time we're doing it to the bottom. And we need to make sure that it's a perfect stroke in between all of them. So we're gonna have to do the same thing to the shield. We're gonna have to cut some off, trim it. We're trimming some fat off, just like so. Easy, easy, easy. Do the same thing for the other side. Man, look at that, guys. Now we have our banners, our shield, and our decor set in place, and we're ready to move on to the fine details of the design and then finally finalize it with some grunge, and we are ready to go, and we have this awesome design. So if you guys got to this point, congratulations. This is actually not a very easy design. It's very intricate, like I was saying, and it's even driving me crazy trying to explain it because it's so intricate. So anyway, bear with me. We're almost there, guys. All right, guys, we are doing super good now. We have everything that's like the main part of the design done. So to break it down, we have the shield done, we have the banners and the edge decor done. And now we just need to add the final touches, which is like the vectors. And let me go back to the main design real quick to show you what we're going to be doing next. We have this line work we need to do, and we have like some small decor accents or whatever you want to call add-ons to do, and then the vector piece, and then this like little globe part right here. So there's a couple other things that we need to do, but we're almost there, and this next part is like the funnest out of the whole design. So let's get going on it. What we're going to be concentrating on next is these lines in the background of the shield. So let me get to that. So in order to add those lines, what we're going to do is we need to hide the entire design for now, because we need to add the lines and we need to see what we're doing first, and then we're going to be adding them in the shield copy that we created of this white part here. So that may not make a lot of sense right now, and I'm probably not explaining it the best I can, but once I do it, you're going to see what I mean. So go to your rectangle tool, and we're going to draw out a simple line here. Just a simple line, just like that. And we're going to make it kind of small, not too thick or anything like that. And I'm going to make a new folder for it called lines. We're going to be adding that into our design folder in a minute here, but first we need to create the lines that we're going to be adding that shield. So we have one line. We just need to keep duplicating it a bunch of times. Really simple. So I'm going to duplicate it once, merge these together, keep doing that. I'm merging them so it makes it easier and faster to duplicate. See? We're getting there. We're building them up. We're going to be doing a ton of these. I don't know exactly how many because I didn't count, but there's going to be a lot. And now that we have our lines, what we need to do is go back into our design here and go to our layer 1, which is our white shield part. I'm going to name that white shield. We need to drag what we can do now is we can convert the lines because we're ready to go. We did the lines, and we don't need them in their own folder anymore, so we can convert them. I only put them in a folder to keep track of them because there's so many layers once you're doing that. So we can take the lines, convert them to a smart object, and move them above the white shield. And once you move them above the white shield, you can go ahead and hold an Alt, and what that's going to do is it's going to show this little arrow. So once you hover between lines and the white shield layer, you'll see this little arrow, and you just click once, and that's going to hide them inside there. And that's how you do that. See? Really, really cool and simple, easy way to do it. And you can also transform them a little bit, and that's why I made it a little bigger so I can transform them, because I wanted them to be smaller, and I knew that. So I basically made the lines take up this whole canvas because I knew I was going to shrink them a little bit. So I basically just changed the height of them a little bit, and that's all I did. That's literally all I did. Now what we can do is we can do some edits on them, so we can delete some parts that we don't want to show and all that stuff. So what we need to do next is we need to delete the parts we don't want, and we also need to go back to our edge decor and delete some of the strokes that we don't want to show, like this one right here. It's ugly. So anyway, we'll add a layer mask to our lines first, and make sure black selected and just delete the parts we don't want. We're just doing some customization is all we're doing. Just like so. And do the same thing for all the edges. Some fine tuning is all we're doing. Just like so. Okay, cool. So now what we can do is, well, there's one part that I didn't like. What is that? Oh, okay, never mind. So now what we can do is we can go to our edge decor. So we have top decor and we have the bottom decor. And that's how we basically put them in folders so we can keep track of them. See, if we didn't put them in folders, that would have been really difficult to find them later on because we have so many layers building up here. So just find where each edge is and go to the layer mask that we created. Well, we need the actual white part, so make sure you go to the white part, and we just need to delete it because we don't want it right here, just like so. And you can keep this one here, so that's fine. See, and that's actually looking really good. I noticed there's a line right here that's kind of peeking through. We don't want that. So there's some small things you got to pay attention to because these lines right here are. Let me go back real quick. See that ugliness that it just created? And that's because this is showing through. We don't want that. So we're going to delete that. We're going to be going back and forth between our lines and our edge strokes and deleting them. So this one looks good. I don't know what that is. Something showing through here that I don't want to see. There's this little part here that's showing through, but that's okay. Not a huge deal. Completely okay. We can also get rid of this part right here on the lines. Now that I look at it, I don't like that. And by the way, I always like to show you guys how to do it better. And I make a lot of mistakes designing, I'm not gonna lie. And when I'm doing this for a client, I actually pay more attention. But when I'm doing a tutorial, sometimes I forget things. And this stroke right here could have been it could have been thicker because if you see this, it's a different consistency of stroke. It's a different pixel stroke. And it gets so it goes thin to thick. I don't really like that, but for now this is completely okay for this design. But I would definitely make that thicker. So now we need to go to that left corner and do the same thing. We need to get rid of that white. So it's right there. I found it. Delete it up from the outside, and also you can delete it from the inside right here too. Just so it's like a little strip. That's all we want is that strip. And we need to go to the bottom part now and do the same exact thing. Now we need to go to that line. The lines again and go to the mask on it and delete some other parts down here that we see, if we see anything. And I do, so I'm getting rid of some other parts just like that. Kind of shaping it. That's exactly what we want, just like that. It looks completely okay. Like I said, this could have been thicker, but it's just going to bug me now. But like I said, you know, not everything has to be completely perfect, and we are adding grunge to this design, so we're not even going to notice that at all. So anyway, that's a great start to the centerpiece. Now we need to add some additional shapes. As far as, you know, there's an oval in the center and there's a circle as well, so we need to add those next. Alright, so now we're going to be dragging that oval shape out, and you probably guessed what you need to use next. Yeah, the shape tool. Again, we're going to be using the shape palette and going to the ellipse tool, and we're going to be not holding in shift because, again, we don't want a perfect circle. We just need to drag out a oval, and this is kind of, you kind of have to eye it a little bit, but I think mine goes out to about right there, and then you can let go. Just like that, guys. And what we need to do now is add a color overlay of white. And the reason why we're adding a color overlay is because we don't want these lines to show through. We actually want those to not show through on purpose. So, and then after that we need to add a stroke and then make it black. And our stroke was 80, don't forget. And I believe we had an inside stroke too. Let me double check. Yeah, we did have an inside stroke. Now, again, like I mentioned before, Photoshop gives us the option to add strokes without having to create, or it allows us to add several strokes to one shape without having to duplicate the shape a bunch of times to get the same effect. So all we need to do is go to strokes again. So go to strokes and then add another stroke. And at this point I like to make it a different color so I can see what it's doing. So this is going to be our white stroke. So we're making that white, and we're going to add one more additional stroke, which is going to be the inside stroke, and we're going to make that one just we're going to make it 60 pixels. It's basically really thick right now, but this white is hiding it, so you're not seeing it. That can be like 65 pixels actually. So now we have that inside stroke, and it was effortless, and that's why I love Photoshop CC so much. It makes things way easier on us. But anyway, so now we have that, and that's perfect. Now what we need to do is behind this shape, we're going to draw a circle out, a perfect circle. And this one's not as picky. I mean, you can just drag it out, no problem. Now, here's the easy part, guys. This is like the best part about this. You know how I taught you earlier how you can like hold an Alt and duplicate all the effects to another layer? We're going to be doing that today. We're going to be clicking on our circle layer, which is our ellipse 2, and we're going to be going over to our ellipse 1, which is this oval, and we're going to hold an Alt, and hovering over effects, we're going to click once and hold and drag it to our ellipse 2. Ellipse 2. I said that weird. We're going to drag it to our ellipse 2 and let go, and that's going to copy it. And we're going to drag it below that because we don't want that to show. We want the oval to be over it. And then we go back to the other design. Okay, how do I have that? All right, so I have it much smaller. So we need to resize that real quick. Now what we're going to be doing is adding our first shape. The easiest shape we're going to be adding is the globe that goes behind here. So it's more of a vector, but whatever. We're adding the vector behind here, and then we're going to be moving on to this centerpiece. So let's go ahead and do it. And one thing I did notice too is I deleted the line work out of here because I added circles. So we're just going to do that real fast before moving on. Let's go ahead and go to where's our line work at? There it is. It's in the banner and shield folder that I created. So we're going to go ahead and delete that out real quick. Doesn't take much time. Just do it real quick. Bam. Look at that. This tutorial has been a long ass tutorial. It's taken the energy right out of me, but I really wanted to show you guys how to do this. So I hope you guys are not super bored out of your freaking mind. I apologize for the long ass tutorial, but let me know what you guys think about these long ass tutorials. Maybe I'll do more of them. Anyway, so that's that. Now we need to focus on that globe. And guess what? If you guys went to my blog, you already downloaded it, and that's why I wanted you to download it, so you can just add it real quick. So let's go ahead and go to the globe. Alright guys, so if you have downloaded the globe from my website on my blog, you should see this right here. So all you do is open it up in Photoshop, and then we're going to add a color overlay of black. Now this is going to be really pixelated, by the way, but the reason why this works is because we're adding grunge to it. What we could have also done is brought it to Illustrator and vectorized it, because basically when you put it on the design, it's going to look blurry because we're going to have to blow it up a little bit. Let's try it out. See how small it is? We're going to be blowing that up, so that's why it's going to be blurry. But we can fix that by adding the grunge, and then you know, by the end of this video, after we add the grunge, this is going to look high quality, so it's not a big deal. And blur actually helps grunge out a lot, believe it or not. So in this case, it's okay. But now we have that globe that I'm going to retitle globe. That's perfect. So what we need to do is add it below the oval. So I'm going to retitle this one as well, oval. And this is just so I know where things are. So circle, and then we have the globe. So we're going to drag it. We're going to center it, and you can't see it, I know, but do Control T, hold in Shift and Alt, and then drag, and now you can see it, just like that. And I believe I actually got rid of the circle. Yeah, so I didn't even have the inner stroke on the circle, so we can just get rid of that real quick. Not a big deal. Just like that. And now we can make the globe bigger. And it's going to be blurry, like I said. It's okay. We're going to fix that. And let me show you what I mean. See, it's kind of blurry. It's not as sharp as everything else, but like I said, it's completely okay. We're going to be fixing that at the end of the video, which is going to make it all come together. So resize it a little bit. I only want a small, like 5 pixel width, not even that, like 2 pixels from the edge of the circle right here. And that's perfect, guys. And if you wanted to, we can actually add the circles right now since they're really easy. So to do that, just make a new group, title it circles. You don't have to add groups, by the way. I just wanted to point that out. I add groups because I like to keep track of everything. It's a good habit to get into. So anyway, we're drawing out some circles. We're going to add them to the edges here, just like so. Do the same thing for the other side. Shabam. I don't think I've ever said shabam before. See, doing tutorials brings out new lingo for me. I don't know why. I just get this like new lingo about myself. It's kind of funny. And guess what? By adding those, I saw another imperfection that we need to fix. And that's why this shit is tedious as fuck. I'm just going to say it like that. It's very tedious. For For my younger audience that's watching, I'm sorry for cussing, but seriously, this shit is tedious. It takes forever, but it's so rewarding when you're done with it. Anyway, I have a duplicate globe right there too. Let me go ahead and delete that shit. Why is that right there? I don't want you right there. Why is there a duplicate? There's a freaking duplicate globe. Where did you come from? Oh, it's right there. Let's delete that. Get out of here, globe. Anyway, so there we go. Now we have this awesome centerpiece that's ready to go, and we're ready to add our other shapes. So the next thing I want to do is move on to our freaking diamond shapes. We're going to be moving on to our diamond shapes because that's the cool thing to do. No, it's just necessary. You have to add diamonds in. Okay, so the diamond overlaps this oval. Our oval. It overlaps the oval is what I meant to say. But anyway, so we're going to add those next. So above that, we're going to add diamonds. How do I spell diamond? Oh, there it is. That's how you spell diamond. Okay, I almost forgot how to spell diamond for a second. Anyway, now we're adding our diamond. So go to our shape tool here, go to our custom shapes, which is in the same palette, and go to your diamond shape. And if you don't see that, like I said, you can add that by adding the shapes right here with this little gear icon. So we're going to add our diamond shape like so. Looking pretty, looking pretty, looking very pretty. Add our diamond shape just like that. And we need to add, where's that at? Bam. We need to add the same effect right here. So we can, what I did is I just copied the oval effects just like I taught you, and I'm going to be kind of customizing it though because there's some things that are a little too thick. In this case, we can actually make the stroke a little bit thinner. So we need an inside stroke, and we can make that a lot thinner because we don't want it to be, we just don't want it to be that thick because we have to be able to see it, and it's really small, so it doesn't need to be overly thick. And I noticed my other stroke was smaller, but again, it's okay. We're doing it the way we want to do it this time. It's completely okay. Anyway, I keep telling myself, but in reality, I'm actually really frustrated that it didn't come out the exact way the other one came out. But again, it's okay. I'll keep telling myself that until I believe it. So anyway, we have one diamond. So this is going to be the top diamond. And then we're going to duplicate it and do bottom diamond. And as you guys probably could tell by now, I said that sentence all wrong. If you guys can tell by now, you will know that I do this a lot. I title things a lot and I group them a lot. And that's just, like I said, to keep track of everything. It makes life a lot easier. So guess what? Now that we put those two diamonds in that one folder, we can center them together and also we can vertical and horizontally align them together, and it makes it easier. That's all I was trying to say. I don't know why it took so long to get that out. But anyway, now it's completely centered horizontally and vertically. And now we're ready to move on to the other centerpieces, which is, in my opinion, the funnest part of this design. And then lastly, we're going to be adding the text and grunge. So bear with me here, guys. All right, guys. So if you got this far, seriously, I give you guys mad props. This design is freaking intricate as shit. It's taking me forever, but I love you guys so much. That's why I'm doing this for you. It's literally taking forever, though. I'm losing my freaking mind. I'm probably going to go get a beer after this. But anyway, the design is basically almost done now. Now all we have to do is add the freaking eagle. The best part of the design is the eagle, in my opinion, and everything else kind of just falls into place after that. So let's go add the fucking eagle. Yeah, I just cussed. I'm probably going to lose monetization rights because of that, but oh well. We're adding the eagle now. So go ahead and copy that eagle. Now again, if you went to my website, in the blog section of my website, you could have downloaded all these vectors. So if you didn't do that, go ahead and go to the blog and download the eagle vector here. So we're just going to copy this one, cut it by doing Control X, and then pasting that shit right back in. And we're going to be dragging it to our design document here, which we did not save. I should probably save that. By the way, keep saving, guys, because if your Photoshop crashes and decides to be a freaking idiot and not want to let's just put it this way, if you're designing and you put all that hard work into it and Photoshop crashes, it's not always going to autosave. So please save your shit because you can lose it. Don't make the same mistakes I have. Anyway, now we're going to our design folder and we're going to drag that eagle above every single thing. And we don't need to add this in a folder because it's only one entity. It's itself, and I want it to stand out without a folder. So I'm going to title that eagle, and it's also not the same black as everything else, so that's a big problem. I don't like that, so we're gonna make that the same black. And all I did is added a color overlay. You can find that in the FX. If you click on the layer and you go to the FX tool here, or the FX palette, you can see color overlay, and also we've been using the stroke, so you probably notice color overlays right there. So now what we need to do is add a stroke. So we're going to be copying the same stroke here. Let me make sure though, because I think I added a little bit different stroke. Yeah, I did. So we're just going to add a thin stroke, copying the same stroke width as the inside of the oval there. Alright guys, so we just added the black to this. Now we need to add the stroke. So I already created 2 strokes for it. We need to figure out how this is going to work. So we're going to make one outside stroke first. And so that's going to be the main outside stroke, as you can see. So there's some white here. It's kind of matching the same width right here. So that's perfect. And we need to add one more. And this one needs to be, let's try to make it a different color real quick. So that one is actually on top, so we don't want that. We want this one to go, we want this one to be white because it's on top. And it actually does go in order, by the way. So we need that one to go on top, and then the bottom one, the second stroke, we need to add that one as black. See, just like that. And we're going to make this one a stroke of whatever. Let me figure it out. We're going to make it a stroke of 55. Alright, so now we have an inner stroke and we have an outer stroke. So again, those are in order, guys. So if you're trying to make strokes and you can't figure out why it's messing up, keep in mind this stroke is going to be in order. So so this one is the white part and this one is the black part on the outside, the outer black stroke. So that's it right there. So now we have our eagle, and we can make sure it's centered, of course, and we are set to go with that. And now we can move on to this circle part that we have here. And this part is going to duplicate the outer circle. I don't think I actually copied the same width though, so I kind of take that back already. Yeah, we're just going to be adding a circle. Sorry. This one's not going to be as picky. So just add a circle, an ellipse is what they call it. So add an ellipse by holding in shift and dragging, and that makes a perfect circle, just like so. And we're going to go ahead and make sure it's centered on our canvas, make it a little bit larger than that. That's perfect. And now we're going to be adding a color overlay of white, and then add a inner stroke. And we're only adding 1 stroke here, I believe. Actually, I added 2 strokes. We're going to be doing this one a tad bit different though. So make it like that thick. So we can do 75 thick. And we're going to actually duplicate it and then resize it. Sometimes I don't use the multiple stroke option that they give you, just because it depends on the situation, really, is when I use it. But anyway, so this one is going to be a little bit thinner too. So the inside stroke, we're going to make it about 20 instead, so it matches this stroke here. And then we're going to add some shapes to it as well. But first we need to add the background stroke that we had going on. So in order to accomplish that effect, all I did was I duplicated the back, I rasterized it, completely rasterized it, and then I turned it white, completely white, matching the canvas white, and then I just moved it up a little bit using the directional keys on my keyboard. And then I duplicated one more time and did the same thing to the bottom. See? Just like that, guys. Nothing to it. Pretty cool, right? And then I convert it to a smart object again, and that's it. So now we have the strokes added, and it's looking really, really nice. I'm digging it a lot. I think I made one of them a little bit bigger though. Yeah, because I tried to keep the same width right here. So do the same thing to the bottom. I tried to keep that width consistent, so it looks like it's, you know, naturally going through it here. And then I converted those to a, actually you can just rasterize them, or you can convert them to a smart object, whatever you want to do. It doesn't make a difference, like I said, unless you're resizing it. And then we're just going to add a layer mask and then delete some stuff out, because we just want it to show on the inside here. So we want this stroke on the inside of the eagle to be consistent and only show on the inside part, not the outside part. So that's why we're deleting it. Just like that. And it's creating a cool little effect too, as you noticed. See? Now it looks really awesome, and we can start moving on to the eye of the design. So let's go ahead and add that eye real quick. And again, we have all those shapes pulled up already. It's good to prepare. Where's the eye at? Where is the eye? Okay, so I need to pull the eye up real quick. All right, guys, so I pulled the eye up. So now that I have the eye up, I'm just going to select this one eye on the right here. That's the one I chose. Or was it this one? Shit. I don't remember, but if it wasn't this one, I like this one better. So we're going to select this one right here and cut it. And then we're just going to go to our canvas and paste it, just like so. Bam. And we're just going to resize it real quick here. And this next part is actually really interesting the way I did this. You're probably going to like laugh on how I did this, but I'm going to show you real quick. So we're going to make sure that's the same black. Obviously, we're keeping all the black the same, so everything's consistent. Convert that to a smart object. In case we have to resize it again, we might. And then make sure you title the eye. And now this is the tricky part. This one's a little bit tricky, I'm not going to lie to you guys. On this part in particular, we actually are going to, we're going to add some line work right here. And let me show you the original quick so you get what I'm saying. So we're adding this line work, right? And it's really weird, and you're probably thinking, how the hell did you do that, dude? It's actually not that hard. Let me show you guys real quick how I did that. I actually used triangles to do that. And but before we do that, we're going to add one more little thing real quick, just because we're going to save some time here. We actually don't need this one. I gave it to you as an extra option. We're not going to use it. We're going to be using this little, we're going to be using this UFO one real quick. So we're going to cut that off. Again, we don't need the little guy unless you want to add him. That's up to you. We're going to add the UFO, title it UFO, UFO, and I probably will end up resizing this a bunch, so I'm going to convert it to a smart object after I add a color overlay of black. And I'm going to put it above everything. So this one I'm going to put above everything, center it real quick, and then just basically resize it real quick, just like so. And this one's going to be a little bit larger. And we're going to actually be doing some layer masking right here as well. So we're just going to knock that out of the park real quick before we continue on. So as you can see, we created this inside stroke. Now we can convert that to a smart object because we're going to be adding a layer mask to it. So add that layer mask, and now we're just going to just cut a little bit off. Just like so. Doesn't have to be like perfect, but we just want to like basically cut it off to make where it looks like it's going behind the spacecraft a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm trying to make it match a little bit. What we could do to avoid this problem that we're having is we could just add a stroke on this UFO real quick. That's probably the best way to do it. And then duplicate the UFO and then add a layer mask to that so it's more consistent. Yeah, that's a lot better, way better. So let's duplicate that once, convert that to a smart object with the stroke, and then hide that stroke real quick. And then what we could do is add a layer mask to it, like I said, and just get rid of the strokes that we don't want, just like so. I want the strokes on the outside to show, so I'm going to add those back real quick. Just on that one part though. Just on the outer part, like that. We will be getting rid of this inside line as well, so just keep that in mind. Just like that, and so that actually looks good right there. I like the way this is turning out, so that looks good. Now what I want to do is I want to go to the ellipse that I just rasterized or converted to a smart object, and I want to delete some of those. So I don't want those to show right here. I actually, in my, that's just my preference. I don't want them to show right there. They can actually show on the top. I don't mind that. I just didn't want them right here because that's the beam going down from the UFO ship, and I don't want that to be right there. So that's looking good, guys. Now we have the UFO in place, and that's looking beautiful. Now we're going to go back to the eye and add those lines that we had. And these are going to be a little different than last time too, but overall I'm going to show you how I did that. So go ahead and make a new folder and name them triangle. And what we're going to be doing is drawing out some triangles and resizing them, and basically turning the fill all the way to 0. So let me go ahead and add one triangle first to start with. Make sure it's all centered. I'm going to rasterize it vertically. Or sorry, I'm going to flip it vertical, not rasterize it vertical. What the hell, Charlie? Flipping it vertical. And we're going to be adding we're going to be taking the fill all the way down, and then adding a stroke in the inside of, but probably like 20, I believe, is what we did last time. We don't want it very thick, actually. We're probably going to do it, we might even do it less than 20. Yeah, we could do like 15 actually. So we don't want a thick stroke. We want a really thin stroke, and we're going to be making it black. And the thing is, we want this below the eye here. So let's take it and we're going to basically put it all the way behind the eye. I just got a text. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be adjusting the width of this, and we're going to be adjusting the width to get those lines that we had going on here. And this is, again, not going to be the exact same as last time, but it's okay. We're just going to go with it and see what happens. So we're going to make this a little thinner, like so. And then we're going to duplicate this triangle on the inside here, and we're going to just change the width. And we're just going to keep doing that until we get several of them that we're happy with. And then we're going to do some layer masking again and make it look like it's kind of popping a little bit more. So that's fine. This one needs to be a little bit wider. I'm trying to keep them consistent, you know, as far as like the spacing goes, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it's still going to look really good, I promise you. And then do one more, just like so. So that's actually looking pretty good. I'm actually really happy with that, personally. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and convert these to a smart object, and we're going to go ahead and add a stroke on them, and you'll see why we're doing that in a second here. So add a stroke, and this one's going to go above the eye, and we're going to go ahead and convert that to a smart object. So, you know, only keeping the outside strokes, and what we're going to do is that we added that layer mask. We're only going to delete the inside strokes, not the outside strokes. So we're going to keep a trend going on here. We're basically going to be just deleting the inside strokes actually. So let me show you what I mean by that. I had a hard time explaining that again. I think I actually accidentally. I accidentally converted it without keeping one copy. So 1 second, let me fix that real quick. Yeah, I duplicated it, but I didn't keep a copy. So let me put one copy below without a stroke, and then we'll fix that real quick. So there we go, that's perfect. Again, we're only going to delete the inside, keeping the outside. And this might take some time because, you know, you have to be kind of pay attention. You don't want to delete the wrong thing, and it's really thin, of course. So again, just keeping the outside strokes. See, I deleted a little bit right there. I just gotta make it white again and then fix it real quick. And then we're gonna do the opposite on the other side. We're keeping the inside on this one, basically. We're flipping it, just like that. See? And now we're gonna be deleting this part. Doing the same thing, same pattern again. See? Delete that. That one we need to fix a little bit. It's okay. I just messed with it a little bit too much. And then do the same thing for this last one right here. We're also going to be adding a layer mask to the eye to basically get rid of this part of the eye, because we want it to look like the eye's being cut off, I guess you can say. It's optional, you don't have to do that, but I actually think I did that on the original design. See, just like that. Just like that. And then we can actually get rid of the rest of this. We don't actually need the outside of, we don't need the strokes right here, is what I was trying to say. So we can get rid of that real quick. I believe I did add the strokes to, I did add the strokes right here. Let me double check on that real quick. No, actually I didn't add the strokes. And I just realized something. I'm actually adding, I did a little bit more work than I needed to. I added the strokes going down, not this way. I inverted them is what I did. I did the opposite. And I actually didn't want to do that, but we can easily fix that just by flipping them, basically is what we're doing. So I flipped it to fix that. Just like so. and I can move that up a little bit. Sorry about that. I messed that up. I'm going to go ahead and delete this layer mask and redo it on the eye. That was my bad, but it's okay. Shit happens, right? So there we go. Now that's what we wanted. I only want to delete it on the outside here. So that's perfect, actually. So anyway, and there's a couple little imperfections that I need to fix real quick, just like right here. Small stuff, nothing big. And now we can actually delete what we don't want, because like we don't need this right here, so we can delete it. We also don't need it right here. Basically just getting rid of everything we don't need as far as the white stroke on the triangles go that we just created. And then on the regular triangle copy, we can also delete stuff that we don't want. Just like that. See? Getting rid of what I don't want. Especially on the eagle part here. I don't want it to invade the eagle because he's the main centerpiece, don't forget. And that's it, guys. Now we're just doing the same thing here. We're getting rid of what we don't want and keeping what we do want, and that's basically it. And then around the eagle head right here, we can also delete some stuff that we don't want. We're just trying to make the eagle pop out is what we're doing. Just like that. See? Now it looks like there's, you know, it's going behind stuff, and that's what we wanted. So let me go back to the main design real quick, and let me see what else I did. And it's probably going to end up changing a little bit, as I suspected, but that's completely okay. Yeah, see, the line goes right here, and it cuts off this part, but I actually don't like that I did it that way, so I'm going to try to fix that. And I also didn't invade the eagle as much, but that's okay. We're doing it a little bit different this time, and like I said, that's okay. I mean, we're creating a different feel for it, and that's perfect. So I also had little dots or little circles throughout here, so we can add that right now. So we're just going to draw out more circles and add them in here at these little points. So we're going to pick what points we want them to be at. So there's one right there, one right here. We're just going to keep doing that. So that's perfect. We're going to add it at all the points. Just like that. Duplicating them a lot. Doing one right here at the bottom. Duplicating it again. And what I'm doing is I'm doing holding an Alt, and I'm duplicating and holding in Shift at the same time, because I want them to be on the same path, basically. One right here as well. This is the last one, and this ended up changing a little bit, but I'm happy with this change. I actually really am happy with this change. Usually I'm a little more picky, but this actually ended up being a really good. You know, we did the design over again, but it ended up looking really good, and that's really cool. That's what's really cool about design, is sometimes when you redo something, you can find new perspectives, you know, on what looks good and what doesn't look good. But anyway, this is looking really good. I'm happy with it. Now what we need to do is move on to adding some text to the design, and then we're gonna add some grunge to finalize it. So we're doing really good, guys. I'm gonna add some numbers right here. So it's actually going to say 13K, and that's because I'm almost at 13K subscribers because of you guys. I love you guys, man. You guys are awesome. So 13K, and then we're going to add Char Media tutorials or whatever you guys want to add. That's completely up to you. But now we're going to go ahead and create one more folder, and as you guys know, I like to group things, so we're going to use this one as text. So create a new folder and name it text, and we're going to do 13. And this font that I'm going to be using is called Langdon. It's a free font that you guys can download from several websites. It's called Langdon. I will try to link that in the description below, or I'll put it on my blog, whatever. Shit, where is it at? Did I not have it? 1 second, let me look for it. I could have swore I had Langdon. What the hell? Maybe I'm not looking for it correctly. Let me find it. I'm browsing my fonts. You guys are seeing all the fonts that I have. Oh, sorry, it's not called Langdon. Oh my god, I freaking screwed up. It's called Liberator. I suck at life. Sorry, it's called Liberator, guys. We're going to make that a heavy font type. So it comes with two weights. It comes with light and heavy. I'm just going to resize that and put it in the diamond. Man, I screwed that one up, but I'm not going to edit this out. I don't care. You guys can know how much I screw up. That's fine. So we're going to duplicate that once, drag it down, and put K. Make sure it's a capital K. Actually, it doesn't matter. I think oh my god, I did it again. Liberator is a completely all caps font, so it doesn't matter if you do caps or not. Just letting you know. So anyway, there we go. So 13K. Now let's go ahead and add the other text on top. And to do this the best way, do not warp your text, by the way. It makes it look like shit. I know we warped the shape in the background here, but that's a completely different story. For text, we're going to go ahead and drag a smart shape out, so an ellipse shape, and we're just going to match the width of, we're going to do the same for the bottom, by the way. So we're just going to match the curve of the bottom side of the top banner, and we're just going to let go. And we can lower the fill to 0% so we can see what we're doing. And if you click off of it and click back onto it, come on. Well, actually, if you go to your T tool, so just hit T on your keyboard, you'll see this little thin, almost very faint line appear, and that's perfect. So once you have your T tool selected, you just go to the edge of that line, hover over it, and you'll see this little wave-like form. Go ahead and left-click on your mouse, and that's going to go ahead and select it. See? Now we can start typing. And I'm going to raise my font size so you can see what the hell I'm doing. So I'm going to type out Char Media. Do you guys know how I came up with Char Media? I don't even know how I came up with, but the best way I can explain it is my name's Charlie, and I do a lot of stuff media related. So I took the first part of my name out and I put media, and that's how Char Media became something. And man, I was young when I came up with it, but whatever, I stuck with it. So that's a little story of how Char Media became Char Media. Anyway, I didn't even explain that. I'm so sorry. So what we did was we typed on the path, and we basically used these guides on that path to change the positioning of our text. So I have my text center aligned, and I use this little tool here. This is called the path selector tool, and this actually is perfect because you can use the path selector tool to move these little points around the path that you just created and change the positioning of your text, and that's how I did that. So really cool tool. And then I'm going to my character set, which can be found on this little folder. If you click this little folder on top, it looks like a little folder with writing on it, and you'll see this this line height tool, and we just adjust it to our liking. And that's, I think I went with this. So I need to make my font a little bit smaller than that because it's touching right now, and I don't want that. I can fix that probably other ways, but that's only because I made this really thick. I should have made it a little bit thinner, but again, it's okay. That's actually perfect. And I'm going to change the line spacing, and just copy me what I'm doing, and you'll find out how to do that. And things are going to get covered up, by the way. Your text will get covered up with this particular design, but you know, that's completely not a big deal. I did that on purpose for this particular design, and you guys know my name, so that's completely fine. But you can also do one side of text right here and then split the text in half or something right here. That's, you know, you can get creative like that, but for this one I allowed it to be this way, just so you know. But anyway, now we are completely happy because we centered our text. And the reason why it's centered is because I put 1 point right here on the left and 1 point on the right, and you might have to adjust these because everybody's is going to turn out different. But sometimes I also bring a ruler in to make sure they're both aligned with each other, and that's how you know that the text is aligned on top. So they are aligned. That's perfect. So anyway, that's it. And now we're going to go ahead and actually, what we're going to do is we're going to separate this text. We're going to do 13K on this one, and we're going to make another folder and name it headers or whatever, and we're going to put that in here because we're going to be dragging the headers below the actual shield, if that makes sense. So keep dragging it below until it goes behind the shield. So you have to find it, just like that. So what's going to happen is we have some layer mask problems here, and it's the easiest thing to fix. Don't worry about that if you see it. What you need to do is just go back to your banner layer mask and fix it real quick. So I'll show you how to do that. No problem. So here's the banners, And see, we have these layer masks, and that's why it's covering your letter. So just go back through it using black and just get rid of the layer mask on those particular parts that you don't want to be covered up, and that's going to fix that problem easy. See? Not a problem. Bam. And part of design is problem solving, by the way. You are going to have to solve problems while you're designing. It's the way it is. Programs aren't always perfect either, so there's some things that are a little difficult, but it's, like I said, it's, you know, it's something that you can overcome pretty easily. I'm going to change the spacing of this real quick. I actually don't like how that M is covered up that much, but it's okay. What I would recommend for you guys at home is when you redo this design, if you plan on doing it over again, I would definitely make the lines a little less thick because they are a little extensive. They are a little thick for my liking. They could have been a lot less thick, but again, not everything has to be perfect. I like the design the way it's turning out right now, so I'm very happy with the way we did this. So anyway, I'm just getting rid of some more because it covered up more. Actually, let's just go back to the way it was. I like the way it was. Step forward. Okay, there we go. So now we have the top text set in place. Now we're going to go ahead and add the bottom text. So in order to do this, we need to create one more shape. I know we had a shape originally, but we need to create another shape. I said crepe. I'm hungry, I think. So we're going to create another shape to match the width of this one. And we can actually drag this to the top of everything real quick, just until we finish or figure out what we want here. And always lower the opacity too, so you can see what you're doing. And we just need to make sure that the shape is, you know, matching the bottom of this banner. See, we want it to be perfect. So when we actually type on the path, we don't have to redo it again because it wasn't right the first time. So anyway, see that line? It's consistent throughout the whole shape, and it matches the curvature of that bottom banner. That's exactly what we wanted. Now we can go back to our T-tool and add a path again. Same thing. And similar to what we did last time, we're going to start typing. Hold on. We're going to start typing. So type in tutorials or whatever your text is going to be, and then go to your path tool again. See? And now you can align it to the center, and now it's completely centered. So there should be two dots. I mean, it's already centered, but normally if it's not centered, you just mess with these two dots and put one to the left, put one to the right, make sure they're both centered with each other, and that's how you get centered text. So this one actually was easy though. So it's already centered for us. It ended up working out good. And then we just changed the line height again. Same thing as last time. Change the line height again. And shabam. And then put that back, so you can delete the ellipse now. You don't need that. Now just go ahead and drag that back into the folder that you had, which is the right here, the headers, and delete that layer mask again off the banners so you can reveal the letters, and then you're basically almost done. See? Check that out. Shabam. Shabam. Why do I keep saying that? That's so dumb. Alright guys, so before we move on, there's one thing I figured out that I didn't think about before. We're going to add subscribe at the bottom, and that's going to help, that's actually going to help our C be seen a little bit more. You get it? C be seen. So anyway, it was supposed to be subscribe at the bottom, but I for some reason goofed up and didn't think about it, I guess. I don't know. It was retarded, but anyway, so we're going to add subscribe at the bottom. The C is still not showing, but I'm trying to stay consistent with the original. And then also the line spacing could be done a little bit different. It's not completely perfect. Like the edge right here could be, it could have matched the curvature a little bit better. But anyway, it's not a big deal. Just something I wanted to point out because I'm trying to fix mistakes as we go. That way you guys can learn the right way. But anyway, it does look really good. So now we're going to move on to the texture, which in my opinion is the funnest part. I love textures, guys. And if you follow my channel periodically, you will know that I love textures. So this design is so long that I'm losing my voice. That's literally how long this design took. But we're going to go ahead and add some texture. So let me go ahead and hide everything in this design. And as you can see, the original design has a shit ton of texture, and that's what we're going to go for. So the more the better. We're going to go ahead and do Control A, and that's going to select the entire canvas, and then we're going to go ahead and copy special, copy merged. All right, so we did copy merge, and we're going to basically paste it. So do Control V, and that's going to paste the entire design on top. Now what we're going to do is go to Select, add a color range, and then select the white, and make sure it's at like about 188, and then we're just going to delete. So backspace, and then if you hide everything or hide the background, you're going to see that it's completely transparent now with only the black selected, and that's exactly what we wanted. What we're going to do now is create a new folder and name this design with texture. Drag that design in there. I'm going to name this black so I know what it is, and then we're going to create a new layer above black and layer 1, and we're going to name this, or sorry, we can name it texture 1 actually. Let's do that. Texture 1, and we're going to go to our textures, and I actually will if you guys watch my texture video, you should have a bunch of textures by now, but if you haven't, go back and watch it. That video will show you guys how to create custom textures, but I already have some that I custom made. So we're going to go ahead and use them real quick. And these ones actually didn't take long to make. So anyway, so now I'm just painting white over. I say painting, but I'm using the brush. I'm using the brush, and I'm just left clicking in the spots that I want the texture to be added. And then I can add a layer mask and get rid of what I don't want. And again, black is selected, so it's deleting what I don't want now, which is perfect. And to give it even a better effect, I'm going to add an inner stroke of the same black on the inside, just to make the edges stand out a little bit more. Just like that. That's perfect. And then I can get rid of a little bit more out of the eagle. I only want some parts to show. I want it to be kind of sporadic and not everywhere. That's actually looking really good. And I'll add one more text layer, or layer. What happened here? I'm going to add one more layer above it, and I'm going to name this texture 2. And this one's just going to be some small like paint, or I guess stamp type texture. I don't know. It's actually, I think I got this one from a wood grain. Yeah, so this one's actually a wood grain, but I'm going to use this one too, and this is going to add a little bit more to it, and we're going to add a layer mask again for the last time. And I'm just going to basically get rid of the sides that I don't want. So I don't want it everywhere. Keep in mind, I don't want it too much. There is such thing as too much grunge, believe it or not. But I'm just going to go ahead and click where I don't want it. Like I said, only in the spots I don't want it. So that's actually looking really good. I like how it's kind of random, and it's actually, I'm very, 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 very happy with the way this turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and stick with what we have here. There we go. There's some more on top that I did not want. But yeah, overall, this is looking super good. I'm happy with the way it turned out. And to finalize it, now we need to add a brightness and contrast adjustment to this. So copy the entire thing again, copy merged, or you can do the shortcut for it, in case you guys care, is actually, what is it? It's a Shift Control C. I never use that shortcut, believe it or not, but it's actually really easy on PC, so I would use it. And then I already copied all that as a merged layer, and now I have one layer with the design on it. See? And what we're going to do is add an adjustment layer. So go to Image, Adjustments, Brightness and Contrast, and then use Legacy at 100%. And if you watch my grunge tutorial or my texture tutorial, you will know how to do this. So, but I'm showing you again. So once our contrast is at 100%, we're going to move brightness up and down until we're happy. So I'm going to move it up to about 80, and then click OK. And then go to Select Color Range, select the white one more time, delete it. And if you hide the background, something magical happens. Well, it's not that magical, but as you can see, all that texture is there now. And this is actually really intense texture. I could have did a lot less texture than this, but this is just to show you guys what it looks like. And I would go back and forth. So if this looks like too much to you, I'd go back and do it all over again and just keep playing with it. But I like a lot of texture. This is a little too much, but overall, it's looking really good. All right, guys, so if you made it this far, that means you completed the design. But if you haven't completed the design, do not get frustrated. Photoshop takes a long time to get down, and it takes practice, just like everything else. So if you got stuck, pause the video and keep practicing. I promise you, you will get there. But if you have made it this far, I'm super proud of you guys. This was not an easy design. It was very intricate, and I actually lost my voice on this design. It took a million freaking years to complete. So, but we did it together, and like I said, I'm proud of you guys. Thanks again for all your support. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. If you are subscribed, thank you again. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. Comment in the section below. Let me know what you guys thought, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you again. Bye.